Hi guys, so today we are going to work on multiplying monomials. Now, I sort of went over this sort of simply throughout the past videos, but I think it ought to get its own video because it's very important in dealing with in algebra. So an example of this would be for like the equation below, x times x. So let's figure it out, right? So um, say we have x to the power 4. Well, what does that mean? When something is to the exponent, it means it's multiplied by itself the number of times that's in the exponent. So this just simply means this is x times x times x times x, right? 4x is multiplied by itself. So if we have, let's say, y to the power 3, this is just simply y times y times y, right? Now, when we have the numbers in the with exponents on them, like the variable with an exponent, we call this exponential form. So this is exponential form. It's pretty straightforward, and we call it that because it has an exponent on it, right? Now, we call this, when they're multiplied out and expanded, like the y times y times y, or the x times x times x times x, we call that product form. And we call it that the reason why we call it that is because we are taking the exponent and representing it in the form of the products, the product of the variables, right, multiplied by one another. Now, when we multiply variables together, let's say, for example, x squared multiplied by x. Now, remember, when a variable doesn't have an exponent on it, it technically has the exponent 1. So just think of exponents with variables with no exponents having the exponent 1, right? Because it's just there's one x. So when we multiply variables, what we do, and if they're the same variable, what we do is we actually add the exponents, right? So technically, what this means is x 2 plus 1, and that equals x to the power 3. So when it comes to exponents, and you multiply two variables and they have exponents on them, we would just add them together. So for example, in our title page, we have x times x. This is just going to be equal to, since they technically both have the to the power 1, it'll be x 1 plus 1, and that's going to equal x squared. Right? Now, this is only the case when we have the same variable, right? So if we have, for example, x times y, this is just going to be xy, right? Because they're different variables, so we don't actually add them together like these ones. We just attach them together because this is, when they touch each other, it's the same way as saying x is multiplying with y. If, for example, we have x times xy, well now, if you'll notice, we have an x in both parts of the numbers that are multiplying against one another. So this answer would be x squared y, right? Because there's x to the power 1 here, x to the power 1 there, and then y to the power 1. So we add the x's together, 1 plus 1 is 2, and the y is simply by itself, so it's just y. Awesome. So now, let's try to do some examples with coefficients, right? And if you remember last time, coefficients are simply the number attached to the variables. They're the number attached to the variables, right? So we have 5x to the power 3, and we're multiplying it by to negative 2x. Okay, well, what we do here is it's fairly straightforward. So we do the exponent thing where we do x to the power 3 and then plus 1 since there's a 1 here. But we also multiply the coefficients with one another. So negative 2 times 5, that's going to be negative 10. And then we have x to the power 3 plus x to the power 1. That's going to be, 3 plus 1 is 4, so negative 10x 4. Let's try a more advanced one. So, for example, 3, so I'll draw a line, 3x squared y to the power 3 multiplied by 2x to the power 4 times 1 and y. So let's first do the coefficients, right? 2 times 3, 6. Now we have the x's. So we have x to the power 2 and then 4. As we know, when we multiply variables together, we add their exponents. So we have x to the power 2 plus 4, so that's going to be 2 plus 4 is 6. And we do the same thing with the y, right? We have the y to the power 3 plus y to the power 1. So it's going to be y to the power 4. Now we'll try even a longer one. So let's do negative 3x y squared z multiplied by 2x squared y multiplied by 4y squared z to the power 3. This one's definitely a longer one, so we'll do it in parts. We'll do the first two together, right? We'll follow BEDMAS, the first multiplication. So negative 3 times 2 is going to be negative 6. Then we have x multiplied by x squared. This is the power 1, so 1 plus 2 is 3. And we have y squared multiplied by y, so 2 plus 1 is 3. Then we have z, and there's no other z, so we just keep the z. And we can't forget about the last part. It is the 4y squared z to the power 3. Let's multiply that out, so negative 6 times 4, it's going to be negative 24. We have x to the power 3 and no x here, so that just stays the same, x to the power 3. We have y to the power 3 here and y squared here, so 3 plus 2 is 5, so it's going to be y to the power 5. Then we have z and z to the power 3. Well, z is to the power 1 if it doesn't show any exponents, so that's just 1 plus 3, so that's z to the power 4. Hope you understand. We'll continue on with the lessons, so please stay tuned, and as always, please leave any questions or concerns if you have any, and please like and subscribe. Thank you and have a great day. Good luck.